Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today for another conversation with John Witherspoon, the co-founder of BennyFi. And we're going to talk more in depth today about how VeriPura will be using BennyFi to help kickstart the funding of the VeriPura business. So, John, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Tom. Nice to see you again.
A pleasure. And as always, Onno's here with me. So we're looking for a robust conversation today. For those of you who are interested in learning more about BennyFi and about VeriPura, you can check in the links below and here on our YouTube channel. So we're going to start again for those who haven't seen previous videos. John, I'm going to ask you, tell us again, what's the core concept behind BennyFi?
Great, thanks, Tom. So BennyFi is it's a fairly complex composer for financial products. The core concept of it is what we call ADD, which is the aggregation, deployment, and then distribution of assets. So we aggregate through the concept of pooling assets. We distribute those assets to a yield producer or yield producers, and then we deploy the yield that's generated to various destinations based on the configuration. So it's a composable environment that allows people to come in, join into BennyFi, and compose their own financial product.
Great. You mentioned pooling. Could you describe a little bit more about how this, what's the concept of pooling and how does it work?
Sure. So pooling is the foundation. It's the fundamental of every financial system in history. So if you think about anything like insurance or simple banking, it's a mechanism to gather multiple disparate people, pull together their assets, and then put those assets to work. So any insurance product works like that. Any banking product works like that. So we've taken that and elaborated on it by not just letting the structure of that be done by an institution, but democratizing it and letting the structuring of that pooling concept be done by the individual. So in essence, Tom, you could become your own bank. Onno, you could become your own insurance company.
Oh, fantastic.
Cool.
I think that really sounds interesting, right? So we're in a sense removing the middleman of these larger financial institutions that have a high overhead cost associated with that.
Exactly. That's the advantage. Yes.
Onno, since we're here to talk a bit about how VeriPura will take use of the BennyFi platform, I think it'd be good for you to share with people exactly what is VeriPura and what the business plans to do.
Yes, thank you for that. VeriPura is a B2B marketplace for farmers, producers, and buyers in simple terms. So we want to make the supply chain shorter by connecting the producers, the farmers, to the end buyers through a marketplace.
Now we'll go back to you, John. If you're going back to the PledgePool, right?
Right.
Where does the yield come from? The money come from to actually fund VeriPura or any other project on your platform?
Sure. First of all, let me describe PledgePool. So PledgePool is actually a use case that we built that sits on top of the BennyFi platform. So we built PledgePool using the BennyFi platform to specifically focus on project funding. So what we were going after was the ability for people to generate funds to kickstart or to augment any project or initiative that they're working on, whether it's a commercial project or a charitable project or anything of that nature. So think like Kickstarter or GoFundMe, but instead of using principal, we use the yield to fund the project.
So how would that work for VeriPura?
Right. So with VeriPura, so we've got a project that's it's in flight. It's you guys have already launched this project, and you are trying to attract people to participate in this project. So what we're going to do with PledgePool is create pools where the participants will come in to the pool. They'll stake to that pool. They'll stake their assets to that pool. We'll put the assets to work in a yield generator, and then the yield will go to support VeriPura, and the yield will get distributed to VeriPura. But then also the Veri token that you guys have created will then be distributed back to the participants. So it'll be a way for the participants to support your project, but also get a piece of that in a project and start engaging with that project immediately. And the yield in your case, in the VeriPura case, will be using staking yield from cryptocurrencies because it's very, very safe. The stake is always maintained and preserved, so we can give the stake back to the participants after the end of each pool in a guaranteed manner. And yet the yield that's generated is fairly high by regular standards. So we should be able to generate a nice stream of revenue for your product.
Someone can participate in the project without risking the principal that they're investing.
Exactly. And in your case, in your pool, since you're going to be distributing your Veri token, now they are actually engaged in your project from day one. And this can be done at a micro level. So you don't have to come in with hundreds and thousands of dollars to participate in VeriPura. You can come in at a micro level. So people, regular farmers, co-ops, people on the ground, interested parties can come in and participate in VeriPura, at a very low level.
You mentioned the Veri token. Right. Let's talk a little bit about that and what kind of token it is and how it would work.
Sure. And I've been working with you guys pretty closely on the structure of that token. So the Veri token is what's called a utility token. So that token will unlock features within the Veri platform. So anybody using the Veri platform will use that Veri token as basically an access or utility token for features within the system. Now the Veri token can also be used to reward participants in the system, because what you're doing when you're building the Veri environment, which is a Web3 environment, is you are encouraging good behavior in your environment through the use of rewards. So that utility token will be given to people who are doing what they're supposed to be doing to build the VeriPura platform, and then they will in turn be able to use that token to unlock features within the Veri system. So it's a very it's kind of a closed cycle. They're going to earn tokens to be able to access features within your system, which will allow them to earn more tokens. So it's a very, very circular ecosystem.
So they can, we can structure our ecosystem so those tokens are used as part of some type of transaction. They're a reward and also can be used in some type of transaction within the system.
Yes, exactly. The most primitive explanation I can give is a carnival. If you went to a carnival and you went to the ticket booth and you got tickets before you went into the carnival, so you've got your roll of tickets, and then you walk into the carnival, and now you can go to the boardwalk or to the midway, and you can ride the rides, or you can play the games using those utilities. And the games are also going to give you back more tickets, so you can ride more rides and use more of the the games on the midway. So that analogy kind of works well when you think about utility tokens. It's not necessarily a speculative token. This token is designed to unlock specific features within VeriPura.
And is there a mechanism for utilizing utilizing these tokens outside of the closed VeriPura environment, or exchanging them, or performing some other external transaction with them?
Yes, there would be. There'd be a certain value to the tokens because the tokens do unlock features. So the more demand for those features, the more demand you're going to have on those tokens. So I'm going to go back to my carnival analogy. If I went to the ticket booth at the carnival and I bought a roll of secured a roll of tickets to get into the carnival, and that carnival was crowded and people were trying to get in there, and it was more popular, I could take my tickets and transfer them to somebody else if I wasn't going to go in and ride any more rides or play any more games. So in that case, those utility tokens, those tokens do have some purpose outside of the VeriPura environment. So they have some purpose or some value. Now, the way we structure these tokens there's also a finite supply. So you're never introducing inflation. VeriPura can't come in and say, okay, we're going to mint more of these tokens. There's an initial supply, and so that creates a very structured supply and demand environment. You don't have to worry about being diluted by an additional mint that's going to come down the road.
Okay, John, so great. So I think that's really helpful. Tell us, going back to the PledgePool, exactly how the PledgePool would work.
Sure, Tom. So you're going to basically, you and your team are going to structure pools within PledgePool, and we're going to have users or participants in PledgePool stake crypto to those pools. In return, we're going to give them Veri tokens to encourage them to stake, and the yield from that stake will go to VeriPura. At the end of the pool, and when the pool closes, the participant is going to take their stake back and go home with their stake, but they're going to have the additional bonus of having these Veri tokens, these utility tokens that they can use to access features or to trade with other users who are trying to access those features. So there's the pools will distribute value back to the participant in the form of Veri tokens, and value to VeriPura in the form of yield, so that you can keep building.
So Onno, I know you have a couple of questions for John as well. So
Yeah, sure. One basic question: can I join as a non-crypto owner?
Yeah, exactly. That's you can. So PledgePool is designed to, even though it runs on crypto, we built it to be able to engage with people outside the crypto community, because that's where the real power is going to be, especially as we're starting to build out platforms or help other people build out platforms. We want to be able to attract people who are new to crypto, and possibly even people who are new to banking. So people without experience in either of those areas should feel comfortable utilizing PledgePool and taking advantage of PledgePool.
Cool. And that relates to let's say my next question: how do I sign up? Where do I find the instructions?
Sure. We'll have the link to the DApp, the distributed application, in this video. Tom, I'll give you that to post. But the basic process is you can access the application. You're going to be asked to create an account, and then because we log all transactions on a blockchain so that they're visible within PledgePool, you have to have a signing mechanism. And this is where we kind of open it up to make sure that not just crypto people can access this. So we provide multiple ways to sign using either traditional crypto wallets, or we have something called social signing, which allows you to use either your Google account or your email account to sign for transactions. But the first step is come into the application, register so you have an account, and then you can have access to the pools.
fantastic. Great. Well, I think that that wraps up our conversation today. I don't know, John, if there's anything else you'd like to share, but if not, we'll sign off here and come back for another conversation soon.
Yes, no, this was a great conversation, guys. Thanks for inviting me. I look forward to watching VeriPura grow. This is going to be I think a very, very exciting time.
Thank you, and we look forward to the same with BennyFi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.